The CEP Omnispeeds. These things are otherworldly. They got the bow, so that's that double plate system you see. They call it bow tech. I think it actually says it right down there. Bam, there it is. The N+ foam, that means it's super critical foam. They put nitrogen basically in the forming process, which makes it really light, very even molding across the density and springy. And these are a really particular type of shoe. So let's talk about it. Yeah, this is the weirdest shoe I've ever run in the best way. This thing, it like kind of molds to your foot. And so what I mean by that is we got this bottom bow right here, right? And this bottom bow, so you can see, kind of frames to your foot, as well as your heel sits down in here. There's actually, right where my fingers are, it's hard to see, but there's essentially like a bump. So you almost sit down in this. The best way I can think of describe it is the way that like you sit down in a race car, right? So it's like you're down in it, and then the uppers are fantastic. Easily the best upper I've ever worn, and you get strapped in. So it's got the gusseted tongue, as well as these straps that kind of come over the side that are slightly independent from like the tongue and the rest of the upper. And the whole thing just has a really molded lockdown on your foot. And because your foot is really formed to this bottom plate, it's a very interesting feeling, because a lot of times what you're going to be used to is putting your foot in a flat pair of running shoes, right? Or at the most like a Hoka style, where it's got that like H kind of rocker thing that like holds you in the sides of it, but you're not used to something that's actually like molding to the bottom of your foot. Now, I wear custom orthotics, so that's something that I'm a little bit used to. I'm used to something that is not just like flat, that is really like molding to the shape of my foot. But for all of you who don't wear custom orthotics, this is going to be an adjustment, okay? It's going to feel weird because it doesn't feel like a normal running shoe. And then you start running and it is somehow like the most natural feeling ever. It doesn't feel like any other running shoe I've ever experienced, and yet it's so natural. It's insane. CEP did a ton of research on this, a ton of tests, and it is designed to improve your running economy. So I believe this is like one of the most like researched, lab tested, science-backed shoes ever. I believe the design is just completely born out of the science of how you run, and basically completely overhauled what a running shoe should be from top to bottom. And that is how they arrived at the design of the Omnispeed. This thing is wild, but I truly think this is potentially the next great workhorse of the running shoe world, like the Primex Strung 1, or if you like Super Blasts. And I'm not saying it feels like either of those, because it doesn't, but like people buy those shoes and they just drive them into the ground. They use them for everything. Basically, you know, and I think that is what this is, except better in every thinkable way. Okay, let me tell you, this grip is impressive. This grip is wonderfully impressive. Okay, I was actually supposed to drop this review yesterday. The problem is it pours almost every day in New England, so I hadn't taken them out on a dry day yet, meaning that the only times I had taken these out was when it was wet, and they grip fantastically on wet, but I really wanted to take them out on just a dry, long run and put some pace behind them and really see what they had, and they hold up. These feel good at an 11-minute mile. These feel good at a 6-minute mile. I took these on trails. I didn't think the trails were going to be that technical. They ended up being that technical, and because of the way it molds to your foot, they were fantastic. I really felt like I could trust them. It's super rare for a brand to enter the market with just a complete wild design and find this much success. And I think that just the way that they've approached this is going to work well for a lot of people, because it is so versatile. You can do, you know, short recovery runs with it. You can do long runs with it. I wouldn't exactly call it a speed shoe. I think you can pick up the pace with it. So say you're training for a marathon and you have a long run workout, I would totally trust it for that. But say you're doing track work, I don't think this is quite that like drop into a hard, fast-paced speedy, but I think that you can pick up the pace in this and you can really easily hold that pace. They're expensive. They're like $225. They come with a fun little shoe bag. I don't really know what to do with this. I don't keep my shoes in a bag. But, you know, hey, for $225, free bag, cool. Now, the other thing is that I feel like a lot of people have gotten really used to max stack shoes. For instance, let's take a look at the Neo Zen 2, another shoe that people like a lot. The Neo Zen 2 you're looking at a ton of stack right here. Just a massive brick of foam. And that's going to protect you a lot. That's not a bad thing. But the CEP, it is much less of a brick of foam, right? We got a little here, a little there. I think I'm so used to running in like a high stack shoe just because of how high stack trainers have become and trended in recent history, that when I put them on, I was like, I feel like low to the ground, like a race car, like, and you feel like strapped in. But it's not in a bad way. Like, it's not like you feel the impact. It's really just you feel in control. And that's a really nice feeling. You use your feet, but you're not like straining your feet. The toe box, I would say, is rather roomy. I can't be the authority on this because I have really narrow feet. It feels quite roomy to me, and because the upper is so well constructed, because of all of the different points, the lacing, how much I can hatch it down, I don't have an issue with it being roomy, but I just think if you have a wider foot, this should still be rather friendly. If you have a narrow foot, it's also friendly because you can still strap it down without having to like have everything all layered on top of each other and get a good lockdown in it. Around the heel, it is nice and padded. Actually, like the structure back here is quite impressive. It's breathable, so you don't really have to worry too much about like your feet getting hot. It's got a little bit of a toe guard, which on the trails did help me for sure. And this whole kind of structure around the toe box out here, I mean, this thing is just, it's an F1 race car of a shoe, and it feels fantastic. I know I'm praising it a lot, but listen, I bought these with my own money, on my own free will. I've worn the CEP compression socks for a while, and I love them. They work really well for me. I do think CEP does a lot of data-based research on their products and a lot of testing before they release things. And I think that they knocked this out of their park on the first entry to the market. So kudos to them. I'm hoping they hold up. I have about 50 miles on them so far. I paced a fast half in them today. They felt great. I did a slow warm-up before I paced the fast half. I ran like 7 miles. They felt great. Like I said, I took them out on some rough trails. They felt great. The turnover is so unbelievably smooth. It's like the best rocker ever without having a really aggressive rocker because of the science behind this Bowtech, which also leads me to believe that it could work really well for a lot of people, because some people rockers don't necessarily work the best for. I hope it holds up for a really long time, because that is only going to add to how much I can recommend it. If you can only get 300 miles out of it, it's still a great shoe, but that's a lot of money for a 300-mile shoe. If you can get 700 miles out of it, then everybody should go buy 7 million of these right now. I'll keep testing. I'll let you know how it holds up over time. So definitely check out the CEP Omnispeed. Look at your local Fleet Feet. Check out the CEP website. See where you can get them. I like them a lot. It's going to feel weird, but natural. Back in the pile they go. You just forget that they're on your feet and you just move effortlessly. And I know like there are other shoes where you just forget it's on your feet and you move effortlessly, but like, no. The way this molds to your foot, like it's like there's nothing on your foot without the impact of the ground as if you were running barefoot. It's otherworldly. This is the future of running. Maybe, hopefully. I like them. That's it. Okay. I do feel like you're supposed to say like something negative about a shoe when you get it. I guess negative is the price and availability. Other than that, I really don't have anything bad to say about them. The Omnispeeds are pretty sweet. I'm more critical of shoes I've been given for free than I am of that pair that I paid full price for. So that's all I got.